Welcome back to T-Rex Tutorials. Today I'm going to show you how to mock up some images on a mug. So we're going to do an all-over print on a coffee mug. So here is my mug here. What I'm going to do is basically start from scratch. So I'm just going to go to File, New, creating a new file. Pixels are going to be, size is going to be 700 by 700 at 100 dpi. I'll hit OK. Alright, so we've got our brand new layer here. I'm just going to take the mug from its file and place it on this new file that we made. Use the move tool to bring it to the center. So about center is about 3.5 by 3.5. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close this one or minimize it. So the images that I'm going to be using were sent to me. So this is one of them, these two famous golf courses. So basically I'm just going to so this is the layers panel for our golf image. I'm just going to drag that image over to our new file. Notice how it's pretty large, so I've got to zoom out pretty far and then edit, free transform, take it from the corner, hit shift, and then proportionately minimize or make it smaller. Take it back to the mug, Command plus, zooms us back in, and we have it at a more manageable size here. So just make it a little bit bigger than the actual mug, and then I'm going to hit OK. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other file, with the other image. So here we have this other image. I'm just going to drag it from the layers panel over to our new file. Again, I gotta zoom out and then edit, free transform. Again, from the corner, hitting shift makes it smaller proportionately, and then we'll just zoom back in. Let's make them both the same size to make it simple, and then hit OK. Okay, so let's just start with one at a time. We'll go ahead and start with this sort of beachy scene here. Actually, where we're going to start is we'll hide the scene and then we'll hit the mug layer. We want to select the layer. We want to select where we want to superimpose the golf image. So I need my toolbar, which is hidden somewhere. There we go, I found it. Okay, so my toolbar, I need the wand tool, and I've got a tolerance of 100 because I want to basically select the whole thing. It also selects the handle, which we need to get rid of, so I'm going to go to the rectangular marquee tool, hit Alt or Option, see how it has the little minus sign next to your crosshairs. And then I'm going to select what I do not want selected. So that takes the selection away from the handle. Let's clean it up just a little bit more. So I'll just go in maybe another pixel or so. Okay, so now we have a nice clean line. I also want to get rid of this top part of the cup, the rim. So I'm going to select my elliptical marquee tool. Again, press Alt, Option to minus the selection, so we're subtracting from our current selection. I want to do it a few more times. It takes a little bit of attention to detail here, like anything else that's precious in life. So just a little bit here and there. Notice how whenever I make this lips a little bit wider, we get a more surface area to subtract from the selection. A nice wide, it's not a perfect circle. Okay, I think that's gonna be pretty good. Okay, so now we have our selection. Select, save selection in case I need to deselect so I can just load it again. Mug body. Okay, so that's the name of our selection. Okay, I'm gonna deselect. And then I'm going to place my image right on top. So if I go to my beach golf, if I go to my beach golf layer and then I lower the opacity because I want to line up the image on the mug in a way that it looks pretty good. So I want to get all the sort of crucial elements in there. So we've got our sand dunes and then the tree. I think that's pretty good. Then we'll bring the opacity back up. We'll stay selected on that beach golf layer, and then we're going to load our selection. Mug body, okay. And then all we're going to do is hit edit, copy, edit, paste. And then that gives us a basically a cut and copy of that image. So you may notice, just a little tip here, you may notice that it's got these sort of wonky edges on the sides and then this pixelated bottom. So what I'll do is I'm going to hide that layer again, zoom out, and then I'm going to load the selection. Whoops. Load the selection, hit OK, and then I'm going to go to Refine Edge to give it just a softer edge. So we'll go ahead and feather it. So I've hit Remember Settings the last time I did this. So I had it at feather about one pixel. I smoothed it about 12, contrast 14%, nothing too crazy. So then I'll give it an OK. So this basically kind of refine, well, it's a Refine Edge button, so that's what we get. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my beach golf, so I still have that main image. I'm going to do the same thing, edit, copy, edit, paste. So I'm going to write refined on this second image, and then so we can zoom in and just see the difference, what that refined edge does. It gives us a nice sort of soft edge. Notice it is kind of pixelated because I am viewing it at 200%, whereas normally we're looking at it at 100%. So just to see the difference between the two, a little bit harder edge on this unrefined one. Okay, so that's one of them. If you're not happy with the top, then you can always take your eraser and do a little bit of fancy work up here, just kind of erasing the top edge just to give it a uniform look, just kind of making sure. And if you don't want to go in with your eraser, there's a couple more things you can do while you are selecting. A couple more refinements you can make while you're selecting, which I'll cover in a different video. It's basically just using the marquee tool or other selection tools. Okay, so this looks pretty good. This is our mock-up. One thing that I want to do is move it to the right a little bit. So I'm going to use go to my move tool, and I'm going to use my arrow tools to just move it a little bit closer to the handle. So that looks pretty good. Okay, so we've got our beach golf image, and we'll do the same thing with the other one. Okay, so we've got that one. I'm going to trash that unrefined layer, or that unrefined image that we did, and then I'll just set these to the bottom. So these are our original images. Okay, so now we'll do the same thing with our nice lush lakeside golf course. So we'll load our selection once again. So same thing. We'll just make sure that our edge is refined. So to get to this refine edge button, I just hit a selection tool. So you can hit any selection tool. But in this case, the magic wand will do. So we'll go to refine. It'll do the same. We'll just keep those same settings because we checked the remember settings box. We'll hit OK, and then we'll do the same thing. So our lush green golf course layer is highlighted, so edit, copy, edit, paste. So if I hide the original image and then again go to our move tool and then with the right arrow key move it over just a tad bit, maybe even down, and then if I want to erase a little bit of the image up top, notice how it has sort of the eraser has a brushy quality to it. That's because the hardness is sort of in the middle, about 50%. So just erase a little bit more. Maybe just kind of get the edges. Actually, I'm going to undo that. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'll zoom out. And that looks like we've got our all over print. Let me just nudge it to the right slightly once again. And back again. Another thing you can do is maybe lower the opacity, maybe, I don't know, 10%. So it looks like sort of mixing with the mug below it. If you want to add another layer, and then this could be shading, and then we'll grab our brush tool with black, and the opacity is 17%, that's pretty good. And then we'll just kind of brush a little bit on here, the edges, just in the corners. It's getting everything else dark as well. If I'll go to my layer, the bottom layer, and I want to fill it with white, so I'll grab the paint bucket with the foreground. So we've got a little bit white. So we've got some of the shading. It's barely noticeable, but if you erase, you can see it a little bit more. So basically just kind of created a shadow. It blends in somewhat, so if this looks fine for you, you can do that. Otherwise, you can delete some of this just to kind of give it, again, uniformity. That looks pretty good. So we've got our 2 different images ready to go. Thanks for watching.